Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Tonight's video is an interesting one for many different reasons, because somebody has asked me if the performance we're going to be taking a look at is auto-tuned, or whether this is the featured singer's natural voice. So as always, there's a link to the original video in the description below. We're just going to listen to this as it is on YouTube, so you guys can have a listen and decide whether you think this is tuned or not. Let's have a listen. So I'm just going to jump in here because I think a lot of people watching this might think that this is auto-tuned, and I know why people might think that, but this isn't auto-tune. It's not pitch correction and anything like that, and this isn't a pre-recorded vocal that's been edited and then piano put, you know, in there mixed in. If you watch the playing, we don't have consistent timing here. It's not being played to a click track, and the playing is happening exactly when the playing is happening. In order to catch the audio from the piano, you've got to catch the audio of the vocal, because trying to get the piano and playing it live and then overdubbing the vocal and getting the vocal at the same time, it's going to be an impossibility pretty much to do that. So this is an absolutely 100% genuine video, all shot in one take. So now we're going to jump into it with the pitch monitoring software on screen. Now, the reason that I'm smiling so much is because this isn't auto-tune. This is without doubt the cleanest and most accurate flip into what would be head voice that I've explained on the channel before, where the voice is just allowed to flip into head voice. I mean, the videos that I've done before, I think we were looking at male vocalists, so they were in chest voice and they were flipping into head voice, and it's something that is used in, it's typically like a yodeling sound, but I wouldn't say that this isn't yodeling. It's just allowing the flip to happen and being so accurate with her pitch. But of course, she has human vocal cords, so when we're looking at this in detail, if this were indeed auto-tune, and I think this video is maybe 11 years old or 13 years old, something like that. So yeah, auto-tune of course was around at that time. Pitch correction was of course around at that time as well. First iteration of pitch correction was 2001. 1998, the whole share auto-tune thing happened. So if we're talking about within the last 10 to 15 years, you know, editing software has still been around for quite a long time in order to change the pitch of your vocal. But as I've already said, the audio from this video is absolutely genuine. It's all happening at the same time. So the vocals coming out live. Let's just roll this on. So now, when we're talking about auto-tune, around the time that this video was uploaded, this would have been on the A3, without doubt. It would have been stuck to that line, but this isn't. Here, we are flat of the E4. Here, we're flat of the D sharp 4. And here, we're slightly sharp of the C4, here we nail the D4. So, and actually here, technically sharp and then very sharp of the D4. But why does it sound the way that it sounds? Because she's hitting pitches so evenly when I'm talking about not varying pitch. So not applying vibrato, hitting a note and holding it. So if you look at this, the pitch that this covers is so impressive and so minute, it sounds like to the human ear that it must be on the line of A440 standard pitch equal temperament, because it's such an accurate vocal. But I mean, this is the reason that I look at vocals in this kind of detail, is that when it is the natural human voice, you will be able to see it, because even though it sounds like it might be auto-tuned, the singer is still working with human vocal cords. They don't calibrate themselves to this graph. So I'm going to let this play on, because I mean, it's great to listen to this vocal technique that she's got. And just to mention as well about yodeling and working at that as a technique, I think that this singer, Emma, her name is, by the way, Emma Robinson, and link to the original video in the description below, as I've already said. But I think this is something that she just naturally does. And it always tends to be the case that somebody that can do something unique with their voice, they haven't just sung like everybody else and have worked at this technique, and after 20 years they've managed to now do it. It's more often than not just something that they can do. And when you ask them, well, how are you doing that? They won't know. They can just do it. And it really does come across like that to me watching this performance. But it's great, like I said, just that clarity of connection that she gets, and the accuracy as well of her notes that she's holding. Great example here of the intervals, and what I say in a lot of my analysis videos is when you're dealing with the human voice, look out for the resets. There will be parts that are almost between lines or sharp and flat. They'll never all be on lines. So here, flat of the E4, and as she came up, nailed the E4, came down slightly flat, and technically ever so slightly flat as well. But this all registers as the same pitch to the human ear, but we can see it's not. This is flat of the D4. Absolutely pretty much nailed the C4 here, and here started sharp of the A3 and came down flat of the A3. Let's listen on. But, you know, just a quick word on these intervals. These are the closest intervals, especially these three, that you're probably ever going to see. But it is still a natural voice. If you listen really carefully, you can hear that when she flips, there's a little bit more air in the sound. Of course, there's no processing sound here either. And, I mean, what I can do is get rid of the instrumentation. So now just bring in Emma's voice so that we can hear it clearly and hear that there's no processing. Again, when we're looking at this in detail, flat of the A4 here, flat of the E4 here. And when I say flat, it's not an insult. I'm saying that she's below the note, or at least where it would be with auto-tune. Auto-tune calibrates to these lines, so you can see how accurate she is, but you can see also that it's not being calibrated. And again, clear example there. Really clear example of the natural human voice and what I refer to as resets. He said, if you dare come a little... And there, when you're listening to that phrase, he said, if you dare come a little close. And then she has that little flip that she just allows her voice to... I mean, it's great that the technique is so quick. The vocal cords are connecting and kind of disconnecting and reconnecting so quickly you don't hear a break in between those. Because sometimes you can hear a bit of air with yodeling, but this is just so precise. And again, absolutely nailed here. Round and around and around and around we go. Again, these intervals really accurate here, slightly sharp. on the line, slightly sharp, you know, and this is all pretty much spot on, slightly sharp here. And then this is great because we have a note that was slightly sharp and then a note that was slightly flat. So we've gone either side of where auto-tune would have been. And I know that, yeah, some people might not find this sound interesting, but just from a vocal perspective, hearing that voice flip is really interesting.
Ooh, no, tell me no, tell me no, tell me no, you know.
And again, so, I mean, I don't need to go through this whole thing just to point out, you know, where we've kind of got this reset here, flat of the D4, then we come up, and we actually come down a little bit here, and again, pretty much spot on, and then we come down. Here we come down a little bit sharp, but pretty much spot on, and then we have a little bit sharp. So, yeah, you'll see this throughout, that it's really accurate, but as we go through, you'll always get these little resets of being slightly sharp and slightly flat, and then on the line and slightly sharp, slightly flat on the line. And when we're just talking like that, saying sharp, flat on the line, sharp, flat on the line, or on the line, sharp, flat, those are the kinds of pitches where you are that accurate. When we talk about, you know, Karen Carpenter, who I've referenced many times on the channel, is this voice sounds like it's tuned because she's holding the notes so straight, so that there's no variation there. Like Karen Carpenter had a vibrato to her voice, so the voice moved a lot more. Like here we don't have we don't have any discernible vibrato. There might be a little bit here, but the notes are going so quickly from one to the next that it sounds a lot more abrupt. And when it starts sounding abrupt, that means it's going to start to sound more like auto-tune, because that's exactly what auto-tune is. It's a computer program that's just taking the note to a finite value. It has to be abrupt. So just the style of singing lends itself to that. But when we look at the pitch, this is the pitch of human vocal cords, but really accurate vocal cords, to the same point that, you know, Karen Carpenter would be at, but because of the style of singing, this sounds more like it, because this is flipping. Whereas Karen Carpenter didn't flip her voice, she kept it all in her chest voice. So let's listen on. Yeah, and there she did hold a note, and we did have vibrato, and we went underneath the note, and then slightly above, coming back down absolutely bang on, a little bit below. So again, we haven't been, as would be with pitch correction, we haven't been placed over that line directly. The voice has got a natural flow.
It's not but your life you're living. It's not just something you take.
I mean, this is amazing to listen to. Because looking at it, again, this is really interesting, because I would say that this is the closest that you're ever going to hear to an auto-tuned sounding voice, an auto-tuned sounding voice. But when we look at the detail that we do with the analysis videos, you know, looking at pitch in this kind of detail, you can see how inaccurate it is, or should I say how human it is, that this is not being calibrated. This is really close, but these intervals are still amazing, but they're not on the line all the time. So this is why it sounds like one thing, but it needs the analysis to tell people that, well, it's not. This is the human voice, and this is how a human voice can sound, but it's never going to be on these lines all the time. So I think I did read somewhere that they had done tests on this, and they had stated that it's not auto-tuned, but then other people said that, you know, they didn't believe the test, or maybe it was flawed or something, I don't know. But I think with objective data like this, isolating vocals, running it through pitch monitoring software, and also cross-referencing this voice with the thousands of other voices that we've looked at on the channel in this kind of detail, this looks exactly like the other voices that we've analysed that were natural. So the conclusion is that although it might sound to people like it's auto-tuned, it's a natural voice, because these lines, they never lie. They will tell you exactly what's going on. So yeah, it's great to jump into this one because Emma's voice is so unique, but it is absolutely human and unedited, and this video is genuine. But anyway, thank you guys for sending this video my way. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. As always, let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys at the next one. Rock!